Liberation Day. Waiting for a long time.
It was called Liberation Day, a sweeping tariff strike across almost every US trading partner. But within weeks, Donald Trump's economic weapon was shot down. The US Court of International Trade blocked it, saying the president had overstepped his powers. And just as quickly, the battle moved to the appeals court. Now, likely, the Supreme Court. The court ruled that Trump abused the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, a national emergency tool to slap retaliatory tariffs on countries with trade surpluses. The verdict was blunt. IEEPA does not confer unbounded authority. The ruling wiped out the president's power to unilaterally impose global tariffs. But within hours, the White House struck back.
Last night, the Trump administration faced another example of judicial overreach. Using his full and proper legal authority, President Trump imposed universal tariffs and reciprocal tariffs on Liberation Day to address the extraordinary threat to our national security and economy posed by large and persistent annual U.S. goods trade deficits. The president's rationale for imposing these powerful tariffs was legally sound and grounded in common sense. President Trump correctly believes that America cannot function safely long-term if we are unable to scale advanced domestic manufacturing capacity, have our own secure critical supply chains, and our defense industrial base is dependent on foreign adversaries. Three judges of the U.S. Court of International Trade disagreed and brazenly abused their judicial power to usurp the authority of President Trump to stop him from carrying out the mandate that the American people gave him. These judges failed to acknowledge that the President of the United States has core foreign affairs powers and authority given to him by Congress to protect the United States economy and national security. The courts should have no role here. There is a troubling and dangerous trend of unelected judges inserting themselves into the presidential decision-making process. America cannot function if President Trump, or any other president for that matter, has their sensitive diplomatic or trade negotiations railroaded by activist judges.
In a twist, the US Courts of Appeals granted an emergency stay. Trump's tariffs are reinstated temporarily, while the legal fight plays out. Trump himself fumed online, calling the trade court ruling the harshest financial decision ever leveled on our sovereign nation. And he warned that if allowed to stand, it destroys presidential power and that the presidency would never be the same. But the court's verdict may only pause the tariffs and not end them. Trump's advisors already have a fallback. Peter Navarro confirmed a new two-part plan. 1. Use Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974 to levy 15% tariffs for 150 days. And 2. To transition to Section 301, a law used earlier against China.
The president's trade policy will continue. We will comply with the court orders, but yes, the president has other legal authorities where he can implement tariffs. However, it does not dispute the fact that the president was right to declare a national emergency when it came to fentanyl and when it came to our crippling deficits and the lack of critical supply chains here at home. That is the reasoning for the president's tariffs, and the court didn't dispute those facts, by the way.
Peter Navarro said, even if we lose, we'll do it another way.
The tariffs remain in place. The court told us, they didn't all but tell us, they told us, go do it another way. So you can assume that even if we lose, we will do it another way. And I can assure the American people that the Trump tariff agenda is alive, well, healthy, and will be implemented to protect you, to save your jobs and your factories, and to stop shipping foreign wealth, our wealth, into foreign hands.
So you are working on a plan B right now?
Of course. No, there's no plan B. It's plan A, okay? Plan A encompasses all strategic options, and when we move forward, we had a full view of what the battlefield looks like. We are not naive about rogue justices in the judiciary. With respect to the reciprocal tariff argument. That was like a whole separate argument. They basically said that the president acted beyond the scope of his authority. And the buried lead in all of that was they said, well, this is why the stock market has basically not reacted to this, because the status quo is still in place. It's like you can use other things to accomplish the same result. We just don't like this one. You know, it's the 122, the 232, the 301, 338. Do your homework. You know how all that works.
Hello, everybody.
The White House is going after the judges. Karen Leavitt accused the court of judicial overreach, while Stephen Miller called it a judicial coup.
With Congress returning next week, it's critical that Senate Republicans maintain the momentum and quickly pass the One Big Beautiful Bill. The One Big Beautiful Bill will truly make America safe and prosperous.
Trump has publicly blamed the Federalist Society, the same group that helped shape his judicial picks, accusing them of bad advice and of destroying America. The ripple effect is real. Despite legal setbacks, US allies continue negotiations, waiting to see what happens next.
But I can confirm that our ambassador for trade, Jamison Greer, already heard from countries around the world this morning who said they intend to continue with these negotiations.
But uncertainty looms. Several officials say we're not dealing with policy anymore, we're negotiating with volatility. Global analysts say this could be a pause, not peace. Trump still has Section 232, Section 301, and even Section 338, a 1930 law allowing tariffs on nations that discriminate against the United States. All eyes now turn to the Supreme Court. Will it uphold Congress's authority or expand Trump's? Legal scholars are divided. Some warn that the Supreme Court is bending to avoid provoking Trump's defiance. Others say it's time the court grows a backbone. Tariffs are back, but so is the backlash.